Okay. Gonna record with me again. Oh, where's my cards? There's my cards. You gotta lie down. You gotta lie. Poppy, you gotta lie down. Hi everyone. Welcome back to Novel Idea. My name is Dia, and today I am going to do the Think Twice tag. So this is an original tag. It's created by AJ Dunn of AJ Dunn Reads and Writes and Jolene at Bookworm Adventure Girl. And they put their heads together and came up with this very original tag. And I'm so excited to finally be doing it. Gemma over at Gemma Books tagged me, and I have been thinking about it for a little while because some of these prompts, you guys, they're tough. So the first prompt is Double Vision, a book featuring twins. I thought of so many of these. I just wanted to come up with one that I thought would be really good for this season ahead. It was the very first one to pop into my head, which is odd because when I first read the book, I didn't love it. And that is The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. This is a very strange novel. It is kind of gothic, and it is about an author who's no longer writing. She basically hires a writer to come and listen to her story so that she can have her life written about. I'm not going to tell you anything else because it needs to unfold for the reader. Okay, Double Talk is the next one. A book with two or twice in the title. So for this is one of the ones that I really struggled with. I came up with all kinds of children's books or even middle grade books that had two, twice, double, twofold in the title, but I had a hard time coming up with adult books or ones that I at least felt like adults would enjoy. And so, I mean, I could have done the normal thing of A Tale of Two Cities or The Two Towers or that kind of thing. But I wanted to come up with one that I hadn't heard anybody else say yet. And so I'm going to go with Ready Player 2. Again, not a book that I enjoyed. The sequel to Ready Player 1, which I love. But Ready Player 2 literally felt like everybody wanted him to write a second book, and so he did, but it really wasn't in his heart to do it, and it comes across that way to me. So if you don't know what Ready Player 1 is, it is a kind of almost dystopian, futuristic book. It basically is the story of a man who has created a metaverse, and everybody works and lives within this metaverse pretty much because the rest of the world has gone to crap. He also has created this kind of Easter egg hunt within the metaverse. It's just the story of who does it and how he does it and all of that. Ready Player 2 then continues the story. It just doesn't do it very well. Question number 3, Seeing Double, a book with a reflection, shadow, or mirror image on the cover. And I think this works. The one that I went with is a book called Double Identity. This is by Margaret Peterson Haddix, a girl who's around 12 years old, whose parents drop her off with a completely unknown to her person and leave her there. And she has to figure out why. And it is another one that I can't tell you too much about because I don't want you to know anything going into it. I would say this is a middle grade book, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved it as an adult. So, or prompt 4 is take 2. 2 covers that look alike but are by different authors. Okay, now I haven't read both of these. I've only read one of them. But these look so much alike that I thought that I had read both of them. The first one is The Girl Who Could Breathe Underwater. And this is by Bartles. And the other one, the one that I have read, is Daughters of the Lake. And this is by Wendy Webb. They look a lot alike. So I read Daughters of the Lake, which is really a kind of a fascinating timeline. Well, I don't want to tell you too much about that one either. Most of these seem to have kind of become like mysteries or thrillers or things that the reader kind of needs to figure out. So I don't want to say too much. All right, so let's move on then. I second that. A retelling. So for this one, I went with one of my favorite retellings out there, and this is a retelling of The Seven Swans and fairy tale that is about a wicked stepmother that turns the sons into swans and kind of curses them to have to be that throughout the day, and then at night they can become men again and rest. And about their sister who finds out that the only way that she can remove the curse is to weave shirts or shawls of nettle for them. And so this is Juliette Marillier's retelling of that fairy tale, and it is so well done. Now, I will say that this is the first book in a trilogy that she wrote called like Seven Waters or something like that. I did not like the other books in the trilogy. They have absolutely nothing to do with the Seven Swans. But I did love the first book, Daughter of the Forest. The next one is Two Can Play That Game. A character who plays 2 roles or has a alter ego. And this is another one that I had a little bit of trouble with. And then I thought, wait a minute, the Scarlet Pimpernel. Which, if you don't know the story, is about somebody who basically plays a different character so that he can rescue people. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. The next prompt is It Takes Two, a duology. I did just finish Becky Chambers' newest duology called The Monk and Robots. Becky Chambers' Monk and Robot duology is a futuristic set in what appears to be our world many, many years in the future, when the robots basically got smart and wanted to leave. They don't want to do any harm to the humans, but they also don't want to be servants to the humans. And so they have left, and they have created their own communities. And there is a monk in the human world, has everything in life. Everything in life is really good. So he sets off out into the world with the blessing of his order, meets a robot along the way. They meet up and it's very funny. But the whole story that unfolds in a psalm for the wild built is completed in a prayer for the crown shy in the best way. And it's just so beautiful. And it takes on this kind of almost philosophical of what is it that humans really need? What is it that we as a culture and a society really truly want? And it's also this just complete acceptance in a friendship and the strength that brings to a friendship. So it's just this wonderful duology. I would highly recommend it. I loved it. Next prompt is On the Double, a book with 2 timelines. I have 2 authors that I really enjoy dual timeline writing from. One is Susanna Kearsley, and the other one is Amy Harmon. And I have read Amy Harmon more recently, so I am going to recommend What the Wind Knows. And I loved this story. I was intrigued by it and thought it was really interesting kind of take on a dual timeline situation. So part of it is America, part of it is Ireland. Also another reason why I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm not going to say anything more because I want you guys to find out for yourselves. Okay, the next prompt is A Perfect Pair. The last 2 books that you gave 5 stars to. So I don't really do stars. I do more of a 100% system, so 0 to 100%. And my A pluses would usually be what I would consider 5 stars. So the last 2 books that I gave 5 stars to were The Emperor's Soul, which is a Brandon Sanderson novella, which is very unusual for Sanderson. You don't get little tiny books from him very often. And then the other one is one that I just mentioned, which was A Prayer for the Crown Shy. And so those are my 2 A Perfect Pair last 2 books that I gave 5 stars to. 2 for the show. A book that was adapted to film 2 or more times. Both of my answers are Dickens. The first one is A Christmas Carol, which I love the Muppet version of especially. And then also Oliver Twist has been adapted to a musical, it's been adapted movie-wise, it's been adapted cartoon-wise. So I'm gonna go with those. No. All right, Two's Company, a book with 2 or more authors or a translated work. So for this, I went with Mask of Mirrors. This is the first book in the Rook and the Rose trilogy by M.A. Carrick, which is a writing team. And this is their first kind of venture together in writing, but they've been friends for a very long time. Set in almost like a Venetian carnival kind of world. It's fantasy, it has magic, it talks about class and a little political. Yeah, it's really good. The 3rd book should be out this next year, so it'll be complete probably in 2023. And the last prompt is double take. 2 books you think would pair well together. And I chose The Mountains Sing and The Nature of Small Birds. And the reason for this is, number 1, they're both set around the Vietnam War. Number 2, they both deal with little girls. And they also are multi-generational. Both books are multi-generational. And they're both wonderfully written. They're completely different in the way that they handle the war. I don't want to say any more about either one of those either. They're wonderful. Both of them. I really, really liked both of those books. So there you go. That is the Think Twice tag, and thank you again to Gemma for tagging me in it. Thank you to Jolene and AJ for creating it. I had a lot of fun. It was a hard one. I had to really, really dig deep for this one. So let me know in the comments if you guys have read any of these and if you agree with my answers or disagree. And also, I need to tag some people. So I am going to tag Erin at Erin Go Read. She's fairly new to me, and I don't think that she's been tagged for this yet. So I'm going to tag Erin. I also am going to tag Gloria at Gloria Z. Thompson. I don't know, Gloria, if you've been tagged in this yet, but if you haven't, then I'm going to tag you too. And I'm going to tag Summer at Sterling Reads. I'd like to see your answers for this too. I think that would be fun. Okay, that's everybody. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for joining me today. Bye.